Alright, let's get something straight. There's MasterChef, and then there's MasterChef Australia. And once you've seen the Aussie version, every other version, especially the American one, starts to look like a rushed dinner service at a struggling diner. And look, we're not trying to stir the pot for no reason. We're here because MasterChef Australia is, quite simply, a better show. Not just slightly better, it's operating on a whole other level. From the way it's filmed to how the judges treat contestants, from the emotional tone to the actual food on the plate, it's in a completely different league. Let's start with the structure, the bones of the show. One of the biggest, most obvious differences is episode count. The American version typically delivers a tight season of 20 to 25 episodes. Quick, snappy, focused on high drama. Now compare that to Australia's marathon seasons. 60 episodes, sometimes even more. At first, that might sound excessive. But here's the thing, that extra time, it's what lets the show breathe. It's the reason why MasterChef Australia feels like a journey. Contestants don't just walk into the kitchen, cry in episode 2 and disappear in episode 3. They grow. You actually get to see them evolve over time. You witness their breakthroughs, their meltdowns, their experiments, and their redemption arcs. And because it's not rushed, their food gets better. Noticeably better. Meanwhile, in the US version, the pacing is so tight it often feels like you're watching a culinary sprint. You blink and someone's gone. You rarely see someone recover from a bad cook, let alone develop their cooking philosophy. It's high-stakes television, sure, but it sacrifices depth for drama. In Australia, the focus is on the process as much as the product. There are mystery box challenges, immunity cook-offs, team events, and brutal pressure tests. But there's also time to teach, to let judges break down why a dish worked, to let contestants explore new ingredients, and to let viewers actually learn something about cooking. The educational value is real. Even if you're not a foodie, you walk away knowing more than when you started. Now let's talk about tone, because here's where the difference becomes glaringly obvious. The US version of MasterChef is basically a competitive gauntlet. The music is dramatic, the lighting is harsh, and the atmosphere is one stress ball away from an emotional explosion. And the judges? They're intense. Gordon Ramsay, in particular, brings that signature energy we all know. Equal parts genius and terrifying. Add Joe Bastianich's ice-cold stares and Aaron Sanchez's no-nonsense critiques, and you've got a judging panel that's more intimidating than encouraging. It's watchable, sure, but does it make you feel good? Not always. MasterChef Australia, on the other hand, is almost shockingly wholesome by comparison. The judges don't yell, they don't belittle, they guide. Whether it's the old-school trio of Matt, George, and Gary, or the more recent lineup featuring Melissa Leong, Andy Allen, and the late, great Jock Zonfrillo, the vibe is always constructive. Even when a dish totally bombs, they handle it with empathy. They'll say, "This didn't quite work, but you took a risk, and that matters." It's encouraging. It's uplifting, and it's also more aligned with real-world culinary mentorship. Because, let's be honest, great chefs aren't born from being screamed at over risotto. They grow from feedback, patience, and the occasional second chance. Then there's the editing, the part of the show most people don't notice, but definitely feel. The US version is cut like a reality competition. Think rapid zooms, cliffhanger cuts before every ad break, over-the-top music stings, and dramatic narration designed to dial everything up to 100. You'll see the same gasp or dropped plate 3 times from different angles. It's fast food editing, designed for quick consumption, heavy on the seasoning, light on substance. Australia? It's like the food version of slow cinema. Beautiful wide shots of plated dishes, warm natural lighting, and calmer pacing. You actually get to see the cooking happen, knife work, reductions, emulsions, textures. The show respects the cooking process, and it trusts the audience to care about it. It's genuinely cinematic, with a documentary feel that puts the food front and center, not the contestant drama. Speaking of drama, let's touch on that. In MasterChef US, conflict is often manufactured. Contestants are edited into archetypes: the villain, the underdog, the crier, and the overconfident one. There's a sense that producers are nudging the narrative to keep the stakes high. But in MasterChef Australia, the drama feels human. When someone cries, it's usually from pride, disappointment, or a meaningful personal connection to the dish they're cooking. The show allows emotion to come naturally without pushing people to break down on cue. Now, what really makes or breaks a show like this is the contestants. And this is another area where MasterChef Australia pulls way ahead. The diversity on that show is next level, not just in ethnicity, but in age, background, and culinary style. You've got people bringing in home recipes passed down through generations, showcasing regional Indian curries, indigenous Australian ingredients like wattle seed and finger limes, Korean fermentation, Sri Lankan sambals, Middle Eastern desserts, you name it. The Australian format celebrates these cultures without reducing them to a gimmick. The food isn't exoticized, it's respected. The US version, in contrast, has been much slower to catch up. There's definitely talent, no doubt, but the range of cultural expression feels narrower. There are fewer dishes that push boundaries or highlight underrepresented cuisines, and when they do show up, they're often barely explained. The focus tends to stay within familiar American cooking styles or fusion dishes with mass appeal. That's fine for a general audience, but it misses out on so much richness and storytelling. Now, let's talk food. Actual food. Because if you're watching MasterChef for the spectacle, cool. But if you're watching it because you love food, the textures, the plating, the flavor pairings, the techniques, Australia is where it's at. The contestants there cook at an insanely high level. By mid-season, you're seeing restaurant-quality plates, modernist techniques, haute cuisine, fermented elements, and beautifully balanced spice blends. It's not unusual to see contestants making consommé, hand-rolled pasta, tempered chocolate, and native Australian desserts all in 1 week. And here's the best part. They explain what they're doing. You come away understanding how something was made and why it works. The US version? It tends to focus more on the time crunch, the panic, and whether the meat is cooked through. Again, entertaining, but you don't always learn anything. And while there are standout cooks, the food often feels rushed, even chaotic. It's as if the story of the dish takes a backseat to the story of the contestant. And if you're still wondering whether this is all opinion, just look at global reception. MasterChef Australia is a global phenomenon. It airs in more than 100 countries. It's especially popular in India, the UK, Southeast Asia, and South Africa. Entire YouTube channels are dedicated to rewatching and analysing the Australian seasons. International fans binge 60-episode seasons the same way others binge prestige dramas. Why? Because it's refreshing, it's authentic, and it doesn't make you feel exhausted after watching it. Even professional chefs have praised it. People like Nigella Lawson and Yota Motolengi have appeared multiple times because they love being part of it. And if you watch their interactions on the US version, the vibe is very different, much more formal and far less collaborative. In Australia, guest chefs actually spend time with the contestants. They taste things mid-cook. They offer advice. It feels like mentorship. So, to wrap this up, MasterChef Australia isn't just good television. It's everything a cooking competition should be. Inspiring, educational, diverse, respectful, and genuinely joyful to watch. It focuses on passion over drama, growth over gimmicks, and flavor over flash. The show has heart. It celebrates the food, the people behind it, and the stories they bring to the table. And once you dive in, it's almost impossible to go back to the usual high-stress, cutthroat format of other cooking shows. If you're into food, storytelling, and watching people push themselves to do better every single episode, this is the one to watch. One episode in, and you'll never look back. But what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and let's discuss. And if you enjoyed this story, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss out on more deep dives like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.